Hello, you guys. Today I'm going to be doing a review and recap on the Crunchyroll series known as Mysteria Friends. If you've watched my previous view and recap, which you should, I did that on High Score Girl, which is a Netflix anime. And so I wanted to find something that was a little bit more manageable because for some reason, whenever I do reviews and recaps on Netflix or Hulu based anime, the shows that already have like all the episodes out, I feel like I need to rush to get to review it when I really don't want to do that. I like taking my time reviewing an episode, and I'm liking watching new shows because they release an episode a week, and then therefore I can have time to really delve deep into an episode instead of just cutting it up into three different chunks, because that was hell. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this review and recap, and I'm going to start with an introduction to the series. Firstly, Mysteria Friends was originally titled Rage Bahamut Manaria Friends. That sounds like a disease like malaria, but whatever. It is a product of the studio Cygames Pictures. Cygames Pictures is a studio who are relatively new to the business of animation. Mysteria Friends is only their second project, with Blade Runner Blackout 2022, which was released in 2017, being their first release. Mysteria Friends is currently licensed by Crunchyroll. If you want to go see it on Crunchyroll, go see it. You can go to Crunchyroll for free. You don't have to have an account, and you can watch the episodes as they air. Mysteria Friends started airing as of July 20th of this year. I'm gonna give you guys the premise really quickly. Mysteria Friends takes place in a fictional universe at an institution for learning the magical arts known as the Mysteria Academy of Magic. At this school, the three different factions of humans, gods, and demons are taught about the ways of magic. So, interesting premise. When I first watched this, I kind of thought of Harry Potter, but with a lot more depth, because, obviously Harry Potter includes, magical fictional creatures, but all the people who attend Hogwarts are human. So this is interesting. So the title of the first episode is called On and Gria. So let's go ahead and get into this recap. Start off in what seems like an extremely detailed dorm room. There are clothes and books everywhere. We then pan over and we see a redheaded girl, and she wakes up from sleeping on a couch. We then cut to another character, and she has a burgundy purple shade of hair. And I have to mention hair because in anime, hair color is an important trait, so we have to note that. But with this girl, she has some added appendages. She has a pair of wings, two frontward facing horns, and a lizard tail. Both of the characters are getting ready for a day at what I assume is going to be the School of Magic. The purple-haired character quietly says she's leaving as she walks out the door, with the school bell ringing in the background. The red-haired character soon rushes out after she leaves. We then cut to a very busy dining hall, and the lizard girl, yes, I'm going to call her the lizard girl because we do not know her name right now, she's getting breakfast. Then the red-headed girl walks in, and her peers address her as the princess. Everyone then begins to stand in attention as she walks by, even though her demeanor doesn't seem to demand it. The princess walks onto a balcony, and we can see floating islands in the background and bright rays of light. The princess then looks up and spots the lizard girl alone reading a book. She's very happy to see her. The princess calls up to the lizard girl, and then we learn that her name is Gria. The princess then runs over to Gria, greets her with good morning, and Gria reciprocates. Gria then addresses the princess as Princess Anne, or Princess An. An then tells Gria that she's a dragonborn princess herself, no Skyrim, and just to address her as An. Gria then brings up the book that she's been reading about the kingdom of Mysteria. Gria says that even though she hasn't finished it yet, it's fun to learn about Mysteria and An. An then mentions to Gria about how great the library is, and that she found a book about the homeland of the Dragonborns, the same race that Gria is. An then asks Gria about the reason why she came to the school. Gria then tells An that her mother is the reason why she came. Gria then reveals to us that she is a half-human and half-Dragonborn hybrid. An then assumes that her mother must have been a student at the institution. Their conversation is then interrupted by a girl named Lou. Lou tells An that there's trouble at the library. Lou then drags An off to the library while they leave Gria standing there alone. We then cut to the library, and students are trying to contain a giant phoenix-like creature with their magic. We then are introduced to a girl named Hannah, who is helping to hold off the phoenix. An then uses her magic to quarantine the beast. This allows the other students to get away. An then uses her magic to summon a creature. We don't get to see what happens because we immediately cut to that evening when An is, for some reason, apologizing to Hannah. We then quickly cut back to the library and the room is covered in ice. We can assume that the creature that she summoned must have either froze or put out the phoenix. We then cut back to An and Hannah tells An that it's not her fault and that she is the one who asked An to seal the library's guardian. Han then says she doesn't feel that she's cut out to be class president because she couldn't handle the situation on her own. An then leaves Hannah's office and wanders the school grounds. An finds her way back to the cafeteria balcony and is surprised to see that Gria waited for her the entire day to get back to her. An then proceeds to tell Gria about what happened with the library guardians and doubts her abilities in the situation. Gria then reassures her that she did her best, and An is visibly pleased by this. Gria then suggests that they should get something to eat. An happily agrees and the credits begin to roll. We then cut to An and Gria in an eatery, but they aren't the main focus. We then pan out from them to outside the eatery, and we are introduced to a boy named Owen, a paladin of the kingdom. We then jump to a flashback where Owen pledges his loyalty and promises to protect Princess An, but An, being the kind-spirited person that she is, tells him to not be too serious and to just do his best. In exposition, Owen then reveals that An was born with magical powers that are beyond that of the ordinary magic user, and has chosen to better train her powers at the Mysteria Academy of Magic. We then see Owen looking at An and Gria as they're eating from a distance. Then the scene zooms out, and the scene we just saw is now in the page of a book. So now I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this episode. So I will say that I did really enjoy the overall tone of this episode. It starts off with this, joyous type of mysteriousness, and introducing us to this world, into these characters, into these factions. Now, I'm assuming that as we get deeper into the season, it's going to get a little bit more mature. We're probably going to be introduced to an antagonist. The plot will probably start to unfold next episode, I'm assuming. But I really did like this introduction to the world because it wasn't too in your face. It was kind of a steady overall build up to the reveal of the magic and the creatures and whatnot. So I like the concept of magic being used in this world, but I would like it to delve a little bit deeper. Like, is the magic hard or soft magic? When I say is the magic hard or soft magic, I'm talking about the concepts of magic within fiction, right? So if you don't know, hard magic is when the magic is grounded in some level of strict rules, right? Like, I don't know if I'm getting this fully correct, but in Full Metal Alchemist, you have to sacrifice something, sacrifice matter to get the equal amount of matter back. I don't think I got that right, but it's kind of like that. Whereas in soft magic, it's kind of like, a character can just say a couple of words and something happens. Or like in the Fate series, the characters need mana to actually use magic, and they're not just saying a couple of words and something happens. There's a balance in it. There's rules that you have to follow in order to use the magic in that world. I do hope we get to see like this kingdom in full. I know that it's supposed to take place at the Magic Institution, but the countries, like the countries of the Dragonborn people and the country of Mysteria, I'd like to see more of that. I understand that it's supposed to take place mainly around the school, but I think that's kind of just what unites the characters and brings them together because they go to this same school. This world kind of sounds like the Elder Scrolls universe, and you have this big continent, and then you have all these surrounding nations with their different races and cultures and tribes and whatnot. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see what the country of the Dragonborns look like. But anyway, so I don't really have much to say about this first episode because it's just the first episode and we kind of just got an introduction to the world and a taste of what is to come. I'll probably have a much more deeper analysis later on in my subsequent reviews. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this short little video. I will hopefully have the next review and recap of episode 2 out next week probably. So thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and if you want to, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.